A lot has been happening at the New York Comic Con this week. This time we're going to be talking about the Discovery season and also short treks after this. Hello out there, I'm the Oldest Nerd, and in Short Treks, the first one, which features Spock and Number One, is called Q&A. And this details the first time that Spock comes aboard the Enterprise as an ensign and meets Number One. And without giving away too much of the plot, because it's worth seeing, if you're out of the U.S., however, these are not available outside the U.S., but if you're in the U.S., they're 15-minute shows that give you a little background on some of the characters. And the Enterprise and crew were of such interest during the second season of Discovery that they are doing no fewer than 3 short treks based on the Enterprise. The first one, as we said, has already been released. There's going to be another short trek this month, I believe on the 14th. There'll also be one in November, one in December, and one in January before Picard premieres. So the first one, called Q&A, basically Spock is coming aboard the Enterprise for the first time, and they address why Spock always yelled in the pilot of The Cage, also in the first 2 or 3 episodes of the original series that Spock yelled for some reason. We're not quite sure why, but something that they address in this short trek. Also, Spock asked Number One a number of questions, including her name, which they revealed for certain to be Una, which is Latin for one, so I suppose that Number One is as good a name as she's going to get, and insisted that she be called Number One. At any rate, it's because of a breakdown in a turbo lift that she and Spock get to know each other, and how it turns out is that it seems that Spock takes on a lot of the restraint and analytical mind that Number One has. And so they share some personal details, and it gives a whole lot of insight into not only Spock, but Number One as well. We see kind of a cameo with Captain Pike, but as there will be 2 other episodes happening on the Enterprise, we'll probably see more of that. So 3 Enterprise-based short treks. There's going to be 2 animated short treks, and then the last one will tie in with the premiere of Star Trek Picard. So that's what's going on as far as the short trek. Now everybody can see the trailer for Star Trek Discovery, and it shows them going 930 years into the future, and Burnham apparently on a shuttlecraft, having spent a year trying to figure out which domino turned over that put the Federation into the shape that it was at when they found it. They reveal a Federation flag that only has 6 stars on it. It had hundreds on there in the heyday of the Federation. So something has gone wrong. Something has passed along. The Federation has almost gone underground. And the remark by one of the characters in the trailer that you must believe in ghosts, pointing to Burnham's Starfleet badge, would indicate that Starfleet is a thing of the past as well. So what we see in the trailer is a number of Trill, which, as you recall in Deep Space Nine, Dax was a Trill and several hundred years old, which means that Dax could be old enough to interact with them here in another body, so any actor could play Dax this time, but would provide a rather long view of everything that's happened in the Federation for 500-600 years or so. So that should be kind of interesting there. If they should choose to go that way. Nothing official has been said that they're going to have Dax, but it's certainly possible. They have a lot of Trills that are featured in the trailer. Also Andorians, which we first saw in the original series. They were used in Enterprise. We saw them in The Next Generation, some in Deep Space Nine. So the Andorians, who supposedly founded the Federation along with Earth and Vulcan, will be part of this story as they find their way in the future. They've pretty much made it clear during the panel that happened at New York Comic-Con that the Discovery is not going to get home. So it should be interesting to see just what kind of world they build. Now, somewhere I read had an interesting connection between the ideals of the Federation that seem to be breaking down in Picard's time and what they end up with by the time they get into the future with Discovery. It's possible that some of the degradation in the Federation of the so-called present time would affect the Discovery crew in the future. So, an interesting thing, they said it's going to be a lot more of the Roddenberry kind of Star Trek. There's a lot less angst. There's a lot more discovery. They are the most powerful ship, it would seem, in this time because there aren't any Federation ships, and so they will be kind of a, who knows, maybe kind of a vigilante starship. Roddenberry never liked pirates, but I think that they are going to behave very much like Voyager, except a little bit updated. So we'll find out exactly what they plan to do with this. Now, we know that it's going to be January 23rd before we see Picard, and they've told us that Discovery is going to premiere after that. My guess is that Picard will make its run, probably 13 episodes or so, and then Discovery will probably premiere after that. Their aim, as they had said sometime earlier, was to keep kind of a continuous round of Star Trek programs going, so we don't have this long dry period, if you will, between shows. So that seems to be a way to do it and to keep it interesting. So that is what we have going for Discovery and for the short treks. The short treks, there will be another one in October, one in November, one in December, one in January, right before the premiere of Star Trek Picard. And next time, other news permitting, we will talk about the trailer for Lost in Space. And there's also another one for The Expanse that were all revealed at Comic-Con. It's sci-fi overload for folks like us who are interested in multiple shows. The only thing we have not heard from is The Orville. And I'm not quite sure why we haven't heard from that. Perhaps because there was a lot more reveal at the San Diego Comic-Con about them. So anyway, that's what we have for now. Let me know in the comments what you think about the new Discovery. We have, of course, at the bottom, linked to the Discovery trailer. Check that out and let us know what you think about that. And if you've seen the new short trek of Q&A, let me know what you think about that as well. And until next time, don't go far.